Hey guys, Thomas the Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the Angry Birds movie. Now, apparently, the thing I have to do or talk about first is this another terrible video game movie? Because, that's what everyone associates when they think of terrible video game movies. You think of the terrible Super Mario movie, or Need for Speed, or the original Resident Evil, or the entire Resident Evil franchise. You have uh, Blood Rain. You have all these terrible video game movies. I'm sure I'm missing out on a lot of them, but are all video game movies bad? And then I think of the other side of the spectrum, that movies that I don't think a lot of people remember happening at all, and I think they really do fit under a better category. You have your Resident Evil Damnation, Degeneration, Resident Evil Degeneration. You have Silent Hill, which to me is still one of the better video game movies ever. You have Bayonetta. How do people not know that Bayonetta is an amazing video game movie? It is probably almost one for one to the video game. Like, it is really, really close. It is amazing. Highly recommend watching Bayonetta. It slipped under everyone's radar, I would imagine. So, there are movies that are on that spectrum, and then there are movies that are either campy but you just sort of enjoy them, like your Mortal Kombat, your Street Rage, your Tekken. um, Prince of Persia, I feel like, falls under that category as well. And yeah, it's sort of in the middle, so there is a spectrum of different types of video game movies, and for the Angry Birds, I feel like it falls under a pretty okay movie. It starts off pretty simply as we follow this bird named Red, who is constantly being picked on and bullied on, and then we see that he is trying to deliver this package of cake, because I guess he delivers. That's his job, I guess, at the beginning of the movie. um, so they sort of blame him for being late, and then he's taken to court as he went into this frustration rage, being angry, of course, and then does the cake at the other bird. And then we see him sort of accumulate this sort of reputation of having this nickname of the big eyebrows. I believe they just call him eyebrows as a kid. So we sort of go back and forth between that. And then we see him in the court, and they punish him to take an anger management class, which he meets Chip or Chuck, and Bomb, the little yellow bird, and then the big black bird. And he doesn't want to be socializing with anyone, pretty much. And he's sort of, kind of, always on the teetering of whether or not he's being serious or not. Um, so we deal with that, and we see these visual gags of a lot of him getting beat up by stuff, uh, pretty much for most of the beginning. And then the middle is where the movie does sort of dip into that sort of, I don't know if I'm enjoying this sort of part. But the visuals are nice, the animation's nice. We see this movie through his eyes, so we see all these characters and relationships and how they have kids, and how all the love and the, how he's the castaway. I don't know if there was a subtle thing of two gay characters in this movie. Uh, I don't know. Like, I saw two, what I assumed were male characters, but I could be completely wrong. I mean, it's really quick. It's a really quick thing, but whatever. Hey, if you can pull it off like Zootopia did, then go for it. but just that would be less subtle. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, getting to the part of the movie that sort of dips is the middle section where he starts to see that these pigs are coming in. He doesn't trust them. They seem to be planning something, but no one's really catching on. Uh, so he decides to see his hero, this big eagle guy, who they call the Mighty Eagle. They go towards him and they just spend a lot of time getting there and making annoying noises because kids. Then they get to him and then they make a piss joke and it lasts way too long. And then he says he's not going to help them, but then ends up helping them anyways. Even though he's a retired bird, and then he ends up like sort of just barely making it towards the end. Anyways, they decide that they're going to use this catapult, which the pigs actually gave them, in order to do what they do in the video game, which is catapult themselves towards the pigs and wreck their stuff. So that pretty much happens, and that's pretty much the end of the movie where Red and company pretty much are trying to get these eggs that the pigs were trying to steal in order to eat them, and it's up to them to save them. So Red does his thing, you get that moment of, oh, he's almost dead, and then it's like, no, he's not dead. Uh, and then you see him sort of rescue this one pair of birds and then sort of help the family out. And then he sort of helped out, and then after he returns, they see that the eagle got all the credit, and then he sort of just was there. Um, but they ended up repairing his house because earlier on the pigs destroyed his house, so it sort of is that sort of cliche of what happens in the beginning sort of happens in the end, so it sort of loops back around uh, in a little nice bow tie, if you will. Um, so yeah, and then he sort of just says, "Oh, you guys get out of here," and then he's joking, and then he lets him in, and then they pretty much say that the pigs are going to continue to plan stuff, and then the birds are going to start modifying and building different things, and the catapult's rebuilt somehow because it ended up breaking when this other character, the bigger character, Terrence, I believe his name was, ends up flying towards the trying to fly towards their camp and then breaks the catapult. So that ends up happening. Um, Other than that, yeah, it's an okay movie. The beginning's pretty solid and the end's pretty solid, but the middle is where it sort of tries to drag along and try to find its way to get to that part. Uh, I should probably also mention that you have your adult jokes, you have your range of jokes, so there's that at least. They make a not so subtle sex joke in this, where the eggs have been captured, and then Chuck says, "Oh, let's get busy, let's do this," or he says something, I forget exactly the line, but it's pretty on the nose. And then he's visually showing that he's meaning the sex. Um, and, for that, I'm gonna say, is this new at all? Come on, it is not. I know someone else is gonna bring this up, and this has been done to death in kids' movies, surprisingly. And I'm surprised it doesn't catch on more. Like, you see it in Happy Feet, when Gloria and Mobile are together, and then they're going, oops, oops, positions, haha. You have that moment. You have the Lion King, that moment of, what's gonna happen, right? Wink, wink. I mean, there's Lion King 2 involving a kid, so something had to happen. You have shows that got away with doing it. You have Lilo and Stitch. There's this episode where Stitch takes Angel away to the beach for some alone time. This stuff has been going on for a while, so I am not surprised that they snuck something that obvious in this movie. So there's that. You gotta get your slew of jokes, your pee jokes, whatever. And then you have your adult jokes, and yeah, so it has its range. So there's that, as I said earlier. As far as a score, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Sort of like I said, in the middle, close to that. Mostly that 6 comes from that middle part, just not really hitting anywhere, just really dragging along, but the rest of the movie is pretty solid, so definitely check it out if you want to. And with that being said, I'm Thomas Cecilio Jr., aka Mustache Tom, and I'll see you guys next time.